Hi, welcome. My name is Dale McCluskey, and on this video I'm going to discuss what I refer to as follower moments, which are the focal point when it comes to impacting the overall decision-making process of a dog. It's what leads to what people will coin or term behavior modification. But here, what I'm going to show you through the relational connection aspect. Okay, I'm going to show that how we connect with dogs at the nature level. That is really what is at work with creating meaningful change with dogs. It's also the only reason why within certain methodologies, certain ways of training, some will fail and others will succeed based on this connection issue and lack of understanding of it. So the whole goal here is to make sure that role change happens. Okay, this is part of the whole thing with focusing on this connection issue. So here, what I'm going to go through and explain is the mind and body aspect here. Okay, just to show you there's more happening than just appearances. Okay, why dogs will go through the motions and the underlying reasons why they're responding may not be what they appear to be. Okay, just because a dog sits for you or will do a down for you or come when called does not always represent the meaningful change has happened. Okay, this is the deeper part of this, because what I show is training. What training is, it's really nothing more than an intervention, okay, at that level, because it's relational. So here, the focus is on creating what I call follower moments. And how do you go about doing that? The approach I use is I'm working off of modeling or framing the dog, targeting their decision-making process using the sit position to begin with on either side. And I suggest you go in and watch my other videos on the specific on the sit position and how to use the leash and all of that. But here, basically, it's working off the sit position, and so we're using that interaction, which is part of the relational part. That's just the sit position. That's just an interaction. That's a way to target and to create these follower moments. And the follower moments, they last basically 1 to 2 seconds, okay? 1 to 2 seconds initially, and depending on how much power the dog's holding, they may not be as defined at first or as clear at first. But what you're going to look for as these follower moments happen, as you're pushing on your dog's back using the push and pull method, or while you're using what I refer to just as a leash flexing method, the physical response is you're going to see the head of the dog's head turn slightly into you, or the dog will be looking up at you for 1 to 2 seconds. Okay, that's your focal point. So what that is, that's bringing influence over, that's targeting, that's bringing influence over the dog's mind. And what that does is, okay, it's going to impact the overall decision-making process of the dog over time. Okay, it's like, because what we're doing is we're creating meaningful influence, and we're aligning with the authoritative parenting style. That's why you have to do the methodology aligned this way. Okay, because again, we're bringing these are coming together. The mind and the body. Okay, dogs are not just part of nature; they're the whole mind and body. So it's the unspoken language. So when I say unspoken language, that's why when you're doing this, you're not using commands. Okay, for the first 1 to 2 weeks until enough of the foundation stones have been changed out. Then, when you hook on the commands, then we know it's coming directly, it's funneling through, it's coming through the right roles. Okay, the roles have been reestablished, aligned properly, and then it's just like being the parent. I don't have to say to my son 10 times to leave the toy aisle. Okay, I just have to look at my son, and he's going to leave, or better yet, it's established, he knows not to go down there. So it follows the same pathway, why the verbal and the verbal command or the verbal is part of the physical. Why it has power or influence through the verbal is because you've established that through this process. Okay, the dog again sees you as the whole. So here, again, it's understanding both the relational and physical, okay? So here what we're doing is, and this is the other thing, we're interrupting, okay, states of mind. So, you know, it's getting a sense when you have the dog beside you on the leash, getting a sense of how much you're being objectified, or how much, if you're a trainer, how much that dog owner is being objectified, okay? And that's the thing with understanding the interplay here, you know, when the person is bringing influence over the mind of the dog. What is the reaction? What's the response and reaction to that, you know, influence? Okay, you know, and that's when you have to see the script, how the script changes. You know, between, this is the whole permissive psychology part of this, between the reactive and proactive part of this, with what type of script is happening, understanding the script as it aligns with, say, the parenting styles, and you know, so you have to apply relational context. Okay, you have to put everything in context to understand how dogs' decision-making process is being impacted. Okay, that's the thing about this, as you do this. So, again, we're targeting, and we're bringing influence, and we're taking hold of the dog's mind for a second or two. When those moments happen, all we're doing is we're working off, or we're just playing off that sit position. Okay, we're going to keep targeting the dog into that position, and we're going to keep working to create our moment. And what this does, now here again, you have to look at the current response within that moment. So if the dog is reacting at a very challenging level, if they're really challenging that level of influence, that's significant. That's just not a one-off. Okay, that's telling. Okay, that will tell us where, it'll give you an idea, a baseline to go by as to where you're standing or how you're perceived within the pack relationship. Okay, depending. So you have to kind of get an idea in the scale of the reactionary levels of the dog to perceive how much how that dog's holding, get a sense of that. But again, the solution is still the same. We might modify our technique a little bit to kind of level it off, because again, we don't want to trigger aggression. There's times you may have to use a muzzle on the dog, but you have to understand, you know, the relational part. That's why sometimes it's better, and we'll talk about this in another video, it's better for certain personality types not to be handling that dog. Even as a trainer, be very aware that you could get bitten very quickly, even before you use the leash, because the dog, again, through relational connection, the dog very quickly gets a snapshot of your personality type, and they start reacting a certain way. Even before that leash moves, they're assessing, okay, they already know where it's going to end, okay, they don't want certain people handling them. That's why sometimes it's better to play off the current dog owner, because they're holding power over that owner, and it's going to be more transitional, even though the goal is to make that, is encourage and direct that dog owner's psychology to become more assertive, to bring them in alignment with the authoritative parenting style. That's the goal of this, because it's not just going through the motions. Dogs really know whether or not that dog owner is becoming the real deal. So you have to separate. You just can't look at training as training, and everything else is just, you know, what you want, you know, emotionally to your dog. The dog knows that, and nothing is going to change at the core level. You have to be doing things. Instead of becoming the parent, you have to be doing things proactively to convince your child that you are becoming the parent, setting boundaries, rules, limits that they need. If the dog's the same way, through connection, they know whether or not those holes are closing in your psychology. But again, follow a moment, last 1 to 2 seconds, and then what happens is, this is the thing to look at. As you start applying this methodology and create these moments, it starts on its own, okay, just because perceptions change, it starts to overtake the decision-making process of the dog. This is what we refer to as behavior modification. Okay, you'll see diminishment of behavior, okay, it's just like the water levels start dropping. Okay, so the follow moments happen. You look at my structure that I have, a video on that. They happen within the home environment. They're incorporated into the walk through the technique, creating these follow moments, bringing the physical, bring the body in alignment, working on, again, off the sit position. And that's what gets it going. So, you know, just understanding what's going on. And again, it's not a correction. Many people will look at flexing, doing the leash flexing technique, and saying, hey, you know, Dale's correcting the dog. They don't get it because they don't understand relational connection. You got to step back. You got to get outside the box, outside the Skinner box, okay? And you got to understand. I understand it deeply. I've trained thousands of dogs. I know exactly. I've applied this. I've connected dots. I always circle back to the decision-making process of the dog, and that's what you do. That's the litmus test. You'll see the decision-making process of the dog. You'll see it impact, okay, as it starts to happen. Okay, so you have to look at what the current state of mind is. That'll give you a reference point for the overall state of mind of the dog. Then as you apply these moments, it starts impacting the overall decision-making process of the dog, okay? So very important to get some clarity there. You can re-watch this video. It'll give you a reference point. Again, experience is very important. But again, just you know, getting this framework going. So the focal point is on keeping it simple. The KISS principle. Just focus on follower moments. Okay, whatever your dog is doing, however they're responding, it can be challenging a little bit. It just leads into another moment. So the mind is always under influence, always being led. Okay, and definitely you'll see dramatic change. So again, thanks for watching. Hope this gives you a little insight into the method behind the madness, so to speak. But just to let you know, there's more going on than just what you see from the surface. You have to step back. You got to really step out of the box, and you got to be able to not just be in the moment, but you got to be able to look ahead, and you'll see light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, you have to look ahead at where it's going. Okay, what is being established? You have to see the foundation stones being changed out as you go along in the world-changing process. So, thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a great day.